Hello everyone and welcome to Instinctive Awareness. I realize that it has been quite a while since I actually posted a video on this channel, but I pretty much spent the entire last month battling some health issues because of which I could not really post. But now that I have resolved all of those issues, I can assure you that the uploads on this channel will become way more consistent. So today I am going to talk about one of the most interesting and exciting animes that I watched in 2019, and that was Dr. Stone. I am going to be very honest. Going into Dr. Stone, I did not really have very high expectations. I had not really read the manga at all, so I did not know how the story would lead up in future. So all the information that I had on the show was pretty much based on the trailer that I watched on YouTube. And I was not really sure how I felt about it. I found it to be an interesting concept for sure, but I just could not see how it could be adopted into a 25 episode anime. But that was exactly why I decided to watch it. I really wanted to see what the makers would do with such a concept at hand. And in all honesty, I was absolutely hooked. Dr. Stone immediately surpassed my expectations by a large margin. The world building, the characters, the concept and even the lore of how the village was created were all exceptional additions to the narrative. But one thing that actually stood out the most to me personally was the protagonist of the show, Senku. Now, Senku is just one of those protagonists who become immediately likable. He has the obvious likable traits of being charismatic, driven and smart, but when we take a deeper look into his character, he becomes even more exceptional. Senku's most obvious trait is his love for science. He is not only gifted in that regard, but he also has an underlying love for science and an appreciable respect towards the things that science has achieved. But science is not just something that Senku appreciates, but in fact it is something that he completely devotes himself to. I think that no other line in the anime better encapsulates Senku's character than the one moment where he says that science will make us all equal. That is the vision that Senku carries. Not just to make everyone equal, but to make everyone equal through the medium of science. It might actually sound a little harsh, but honestly, in Senku's eyes, the world is worth saving only if it is through the means of science. In other words, he wants to save mankind and bring civilization back to the world, but only through the means of science. That is not to say that Senku does not want to restore the world, but in Senku's eyes, the most efficient and effective way to restore civilization is through the means of science. It is like hitting two birds with one stone. On one hand, he can restore civilization, and on the other hand, he can get the world to acknowledge and appreciate the beauty of science. Which brings me to my next point. Senku wants people to appreciate science. We see this pretty much every time he makes something for the villagers. Numerous times throughout the series, we see him creating something with the help of science, and we see the villagers marvel at his creation. But instead of taking credit for his creations, he credits science for the creation of everything. Each of these times, there is one thing in common. One thing that Senku always mentions as the villagers marvel in disbelief over the technological creations in front of their eyes. He always says, "Isn't science incredible?" And he says this various times throughout the series. The most prominent of which would be when the ex-village chief tells Senku that even though he was making something that was completely unrelated, he was still making the lives of the villagers better. And Senku replies with his signature quote, "Isn't science incredible?" This is not just him marveling at the beauty of science, but more like him trying to emphasize the beauty of science to those around him. It is as if he wants people to appreciate what science can achieve. While in most cases, something like this might come across as imposing one's beliefs on others, in Senku's case, he actually makes the lives of the villagers better, which is why even when he wants them to acknowledge science, it does not come across as a forced action. This is in line with what I said earlier about Senku, that he believes that the best way to save the world is through science, because that way, not only can he restore civilization, but he can also get the people of this new world to acknowledge the beauty of science. It is a lot like what we as people do when we love a celebrity. We might look up to a celebrity and their work, and as a result, we feel great when the people around us also acknowledge how great that celebrity is. That is exactly how Senku feels when people acknowledge science. Senku believes that the thing he loves and respects the most can actually restore mankind. And this brings me to the most important part of this video. Senku's adamance on restoring civilization to save all of mankind. This is where Tsukasa comes into play. While it is obvious that Tsukasa is the antagonist of the story, he plays a far more important part than just that. Tsukasa is used as a tool to further tell us about Senku's beliefs and ideology. Senku wants to depetrify everyone who was turned into stone. But from the moment that we meet Tsukasa, we know that there will be a major conflict between the morality of the two men. Unlike Senku, Tsukasa only wants to depetrify the young people because he does not want the world to go back to the way that it was. He believes that the grown-ups and adults had seen money and power and how much these two things could actually influence their surroundings. And because they had seen what power and money could do, as soon as they are depetrified, they will go back to their respective power trips. Tsukasa's worldview might be different from Senku, but it is not exactly wrong. We have to understand that Senku and Tsukasa have had very different lives. Tsukasa's defining moment in life was one that was filled with pain. He wanted to gift his dying sister a parting gift, but an adult had the fishing rights to that area, and as a result, he did not allow Tsukasa to take anything from the area at all. In the end, Tsukasa lost his sister without being able to give her a parting gift. Tsukasa's defining moment in life was one where he saw what power can do and how it can corrupt a person. Tsukasa saw the worst that life had to offer. Senku, on the other hand, saw a very different world. He had a loving father who had adopted him and had friends who actually supported him. He was never truly alone like Tsukasa. While Tsukasa saw the world as a product of power and money, Senku saw the world as a product of science. Tsukasa's worldview led him to look at the world as a place where several individuals belonged, and as a result, he could see that some people, in this case the elders, had been corrupted by the power. Senku, on the other hand, saw the world differently. Since he saw the world as a product of science, he saw the world not as a place where millions of different individuals stayed, but rather as a sum of those millions of individuals, the collective efforts of whom had led to such a development in the society. In other words, Senku saw the world as a whole, which is why he does not differentiate between individuals, but rather looks at the world as a large society, and that is the reason why he wants to depetrify everyone and not just selected individuals. Tsukasa, on the other hand, does not look at the world as a whole, but rather looks at the individuals that comprise of this world, which is why he can actually differentiate between individuals and as a result decides that selective depetrification is the best approach. Tsukasa acts as the polar opposite of Senku, and that in turn helps the audience to better understand Senku's ideology. Senku is a man of science who wants to bring the world to modern civilization, while Tsukasa acts the role of a primitive man who wants to eradicate the existence of science altogether. Their dynamic is like a modern man versus a caveman, and this colliding morality is what better emphasizes the ideologies of both men. In simpler terms, Senku wants to save mankind while Tsukasa wants to save humanity. It is this ideology of a primitive caveman against the ideology of a rational modern man that makes their dynamic so interesting to watch. And speaking of how rational Senku is, another thing that actually makes Senku so likable is the fact that despite being a rational person, he is not detached from his emotions. While there are several instances where it seems as though Senku tries to hide or run away from his emotions, that is honestly not the case at all. In fact, Senku as a character is surprisingly open to emotions and considerate of the needs and desires of other people. It is not a secret that Senku values human life, as we see when Tsukasa threatens to kill Yuzuriha and Senku exchanges information about the depetrification fluid in exchange for her life. But aside from valuing human life, he also strongly values human emotions. We see this at various instances where Senku makes the lives of those around him better using science, and oftentimes he does so even when it does not really benefit him in any way whatsoever. We see this when he makes cola for Gen at a time when Gen is least expecting it, and also when he leaves a piece of cotton candy for Homura, who was from the enemy nation. While Senku tries to mask it as a strategy to get Homura to rethink her loyalties, Ruri sees right through this facade and understands that he simply wanted to share some of the cotton candy with the girl. But I think that in terms of emotional availability, Senku's most important moment comes when Gen, with the help of the villagers, builds him a telescope for his birthday. This is probably the first time that we see genuine, open emotion from Senku. Of course, just moments later he tries to play it off as a joke, but by then Senku's emotions were already out in the open. My point here is that whether it is the villagers building Senku a telescope or Senku doing random acts of kindness even to his enemies, all of this comes through the medium of science. Whether he is preparing cola for Gen or giving cotton candy to Homura, all of these things are done through the medium of science. He feels for these people and wants to make their lives better, and he believes that the best way to do this is through science. In other words, science is the outlet for Senku's emotions. Just like some of us find our emotional outlet in art, craft, or even combat sports, as the case might be, Senku finds his emotional outlet in science. It is his way of expressing himself and his emotions. Throughout the series we have seen that Senku is not exactly proficient in expressing his own emotions directly, which is the reason why oftentimes he uses science to do the job for him. Senku is not a selfless protagonist, but even so, he values human life and emotions and does anything that he can to make life better for the people around him, and he plans to do it through science and science alone. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, for Senku, the world is worth saving, but only if he can do it in his own way. Only if he can do it through science. And that is exactly what makes Senku such an exceptional protagonist. He is willing to restore civilization while still following his individual beliefs and ideology. Senku, I believe, is truly a masterpiece of a character, and I really do hope that as the series becomes more and more popular in the coming seasons, this character gets the appreciation that it truly deserves. I have refrained from reading the manga because after watching the first season, I believe that a story like Dr. Stone is best experienced through the medium of anime, and I will really be looking forward to where the story goes from this point on.